Right, guys, I'm with Paul Suggitt and Dan Walker from FatCat Productions. Incredible hard work and professional team. We done the Lee Duffy Too Far Too Soon film together. I know you guys are in the studio now putting bits together for other documentaries. You're just working non-stop. So good, first and foremost, just before I go on about a few other things that you're doing. Right, first question, guys. What made you do that Lee Duffy documentary in the first place?
Well, Jamie, for myself, I was similar age to Lee Duffy, so I grew up with the name Lee Duffy. And Lee Duffy's been a name in Teesside, like Teesside folklore. But realistically, until I did the documentary, in fact, when I first started reading your books on it, that's the first real in-depth look at Lee Duffy that I got. And, while she don't glorify crime, what a bloody interesting life the guy led. And so with my mindset, I just thought, you know what, there's a good documentary in this. And whilst there's been books out, for myself, and other documentaries from myself, I wanted to come into it from a completely different stance, from a very, very neutral stance, whereby we, as filmmakers, myself and Dan, we have no opinion, good or bad, of Lee, and what we wanted to do is just create a documentary where the associates, the friends, the enemies, the police, and so on of Lee's actually told that story for us, and then it was left up to the viewer to make their decision as to whether they thought he was a good lad, whether they thought he was a bad lad, because everybody has an opinion. And I believe that through that documentary we achieved that.
Yeah, I mean, from my personal standpoint, when Lee was killed, I just turned 6 years old, and I remember seeing that news footage on the telly. The very same stuff that we've managed to get hold of and use on the actual documentary. I remember sitting there in the living room and that coming on, Time Tease Tonight, whatever it was called. And another motivating factor for me to actually make the documentary was the immense technical challenge that it would be. Because I'm into more technical stuff. I am the editor and stuff, and dealing with just the sheer amount of footage was going to be a massive challenge.
Because this, in the end, this didn't just go as a normal documentary; it became feature length, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, just short of 1 hour 40 minutes.
I mean, this stuff isn't easy to manage. I mean, we're talking about 1.5 terabytes of footage here. 4 months literally sat in front of a computer screen for hours a day. That's how long this took. But while it was hard work, it was extremely enjoyable.
It's paid off well, hasn't it? We've got a pure, balanced story out there of Lee. And it's funny, because some of the challenges, Jamie, that we had through it, is we were putting trailers out onto YouTube just to let people know that this was coming, and it was going to be a different level type of production. And there was nothing bad about Lee, and there was nothing good. It was just neutral, and some of the hatred that was coming towards us, because we were putting this docu-film out. It was unreal, and realistically, it was. You don't respond to this kind of stuff. I found myself just wanting to say to people, look, just give it a chance and watch it, and you'll realise it's nothing like what you think. And again, now it's out. People have realised, it's actually. It is, as they've said on the tin, it's a 50-50 approach, from the filmmakers, with good and bad, and we just sit on the fence with that. We don't cast the judgment either side.
Yeah. Can I ask you though, obviously, do you know at the start you two guys being Teesside, obviously Billingham, Hartlepool, so you grew up, were you ever a bit worried thinking, hang on a minute, this is a bit too close to home, I don't want to kick a hornet's nest?
No, because realistically, as a person who's interested in the true crime genre as well, for me, I just thought there's a homegrown story here, and rather than get some people from down south doing this, why can't it be produced by a production company in the area, who've got the skills and the technology to actually put it together? And after a few meetings, and then even reaching out to yourself, if this was kind of like, this is a go at this, let's invest the time, money, energy into producing this story, of a Teesside folklore legend in that respect, by a Teesside production company.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I mean, I didn't get the feeling that it was too close to home, but it was more of a sort of, I don't know, privilege for me in a way, because we've went straight down the centre line with opinion on this. And what I've tried to do is give Lee his due credit, both for the good and bad that he did. I mean, one thing's for sure, he's sorely missed, and he will remain that legend forever.
Yeah.
As people said in the documentary, there's nobody come along and actually filled his shoes. No. Some of them have got clothes, but there's absolutely nobody who has literally slotted into those shoes. So I mean, he is a moment captured in time forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you mentioned the challenges. Did it ever get to the point where you thought, hang on a minute, this is a bit too much? Obviously, I've had it was a few prickly moments where you thought, do you know what, this is maybe just a bit too much, or did you think, do you know what, weather the storm and we'll get there?
I mean, there was a few goings on, wasn't there? Let's face it. If anyone wants to do the research, I'm sure they can. But yeah, I mean, at times like that, you just think, it's just stress after stress after stress. But when that happens, you just got to close the computer down for a couple of days, leave it alone, go and do something else. Spend some time with the kids or the girlfriend, whatever, and then just come back to it a few days later when things have blown over, if you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot going on.
It was kind of a roller coaster between lots of different parties, involved in it, and and we were innocently caught up in all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that became the biggest challenge, because there's a few times I'm going to use the F word. I said, fuck it, it's not really worth what is going on, because we're trying to bring this story out, and this story that needs to be told. It's being told in various other guises, but what we wanted to do is bring this story to life, completely differently, in a way that's not being seen, with type of productions that we produce when we're doing documentaries, just so for the enjoyment of everybody who's watching it.
Yeah. Well, can I just say, guys, I owe you a big thank you, because you took a lot of you both took a lot of my bullets. So thank you.
Yeah, too.
Big time for that.
Yeah. But do you know what? The story itself, I mean, I've looked at it very closely for the last couple of years, and if I'm ever in Teesside now and people just want to stop me, and it's like I don't have a personality, people just want to talk to me about Lee Duffy. The story, right, regardless of whether you epitomised him or are greatly interested, it's a very unique story, isn't it? Why do you think that is? My opinion is it's because the guy was so young, done so much, as the clues in the name, too far too soon, and for whether rightly or wrongly, I don't think anyone on the planet will come and cause that kind of mayhem, chaos, destruction, whirlwind of just unbelievable activity and then gone. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, Matt, you're absolutely right. He was a whirlwind enigma. He kind of burst on the scene and established himself pretty quickly, in Teesside and beyond. And then from there, his name just grew and grew and grew, and with the name came the notoriety. And I genuinely, I've not heard of anybody, certainly within Teesside, who has come any close to being recognised like the name Lee Duffy.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Dan?
On Lee,
I mean, obviously, you know, I've read a lot of true crime books, and you know, I think the thing that jumped, you know, people with the gangs and people kind of done the same thing, but they were a lot older. You're talking about a one-man army who was 26, and I think that's what makes the story so just a thing that stands on its own in Britain, really.
Well, that's it. I mean, if you were to face up to him, you'd have to be a brave man. Let's face it. You know, and that's, I guess, what the power of reputation does. You know, he obviously he did something. There was one notable moment that he's done something to someone, and people have took note of that, and they've went, "Whoa, hang on a minute." You know, he's not to be messed with, and he's reinforced himself. You know. All this time, and it just speaks for itself what he's done. It's just unbelievable, and you know, just fascinating character.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the good thing out of this is obviously you guys have very kindly donated to a wonderful charity. But last question before I let you go, because I know you're really busy. What are the plans for the film then? I know it's been out 3 months. Am I right in saying it's done incredibly well? What are your plans? Are you going to take it anywhere abroad, or if you want to tell me, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, some of the stats. I mean, it's something like 1.4 million viewing minutes since it was launched, and you know, it's absolutely phenomenal. Where it goes, well, we need to see if there's potentially a market for the USA.
Yeah.
You know, we need to do some research on that, but it's not going to be overnight that it would appear on USA Prime. I need to look into the details of it, really.
Needless to say, I mean, since Christmas Day, when Amazon dropped it out to the public to watch, it's been phenomenal. There's a lot of reviews on it. As you can imagine, some good, some bad. You know, everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah.
And again, to Lee, you know, as the subject matter, it brings out the emotion in people as well, you know, and it either angers people, it makes people feel good, and so on. But over the last few months, it's just grew at a phenomenal pace online.
I personally can't believe it. I mean, there's something. I mean, what 550 or 60 views?
No, I looked this morning. And it was 595 in 3 months. Yeah, I remember talking to Sean Atwood, and he said to me, if you're, you know, a project gets 100 Amazon reviews in a year, it's done pretty well. So this has had nearly 600 in 3 months, which is staggering.
Yeah, I mean, the only bad reviews on there are just the obvious trolls.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, it's a shame, really. It is. I mean, things like, this is being shot and made in an afternoon. You know, it's laughable. It's actually, you burst out laughing because people don't realise.
There was more than 5 full days of filming alone went into that. And Jamie, obviously, you were part of that. You knew kind of. Well, you know what kind of goes on behind the scenes with it, and complications of just making sure it's right, and then, like I say, months in the edit, just to make sure that we're bringing a product to market that people hopefully will enjoy. So we don't believe in just cobbling something together and just putting it out there. I mean, the music scores, if you were to take a look at it, we've had people ask us, is there a music score track available for them to buy and things like that? It's because even now, that was literally matched, but, you know, when we say Dan there editing, you know, I would probably say three weeks of the edit alone was probably compiling the music scores to basically fit what people were talking about, to bring about the right emotion for the film. And there's so many different angles that you do look at when you're actually editing, you know, footage together, because, you know, unless you're creative in the edit, it's basically just stuff shot on a camera, basically, and so we've got to bring it to life, in the best way. So there's so much gone into it, and like you say, it's a shame that you get the odd troll who'll come on and just for the sake of it, and try and downvote things.
Can I just say, Dan? Can I just say my personal favourite was the guy who gave us a 1-star on review because there was no footage of Lee, like it was our fault we couldn't go back and get 30 years.
Well, back in the 80s, we didn't have camera phones, right? CCTV wasn't as prevalent. But can you imagine, right, if we did have camera phones back in the 80s, we would have been brave enough to go stick it in Lee's face.
Yeah.
And try to get footage anyway. So
I mean, you can't even get decent quality pictures of bank robbers in 2020. So getting a decent image of Lee back then, even if it existed, it's just impossible. But what you don't realise at the time, that if you think, let's just capture this moment, it will live forever. Obviously that didn't happen then, because there wasn't the availability, as Paul said, of smartphones or this or that, and you'd have to be pretty brazen to go and record him anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it is a shame, but we've worked with what we can work with, and I think it's done.
Yeah,
I think it's done.
Yeah, and just one last question, guys. It's people. I mean, if people listen to this on YouTube, where can they buy the film?
Well, they can go to Amazon Prime, and they can watch the film there. All they need to do is just do a search for Lee Duffy Too Far Too Soon, and they'll see it there. And it's in various different ways. So you've got HDs, you've got standard definitions, and so on. All the trailers for the Lee Duffy documentary film are on my YouTube channel, which is all you need to do is just do a search for Paul Suggitt, and they're on there. So it's youtube.com/C /Paul Suggitt, simple as that. And they can see all the trailers that are out there. But again, on your social medias that you handle, Jamie, I think the trailers have all been broadcast across there as well, haven't they? So
yeah. And was there much footage that you didn't use? Will we ever see any of that light of day?
Yeah, without a doubt, there was so much footage shot. We've put a few things out. We've done a couple of behind the scenes, short little films that we've put out on YouTube, and you starring 2 of them, I think. Yeah. One of them we shot a yawn cam on you. If you remember.
I was hungover that day.
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was just our way of breaking up the madness of the edits. Like, we'll just pit stop and we'll just bring something funny out.
Glass of wine in hand.
Glass of wine in hand.
See where it goes.
All good.
Overall, really difficult work, but it's paid off. It's turned out well, and if I ever get the chance to do something technically that difficult and important, really, I think definitely I'll do it again. Definitely. No regrets.
Yeah, marvellous.